Council Chambers, and I'm calling this Human Resources Committee to order. We'll start with number 1, approval of the September 12, 2022 minutes. They're in your packet. Any questions or concerns about the minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to accept. Motion by Herbst, second by Gisselman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that has passed unanimously. Number 2, Human Resources Report for September. It's in your packet. Any questions or concerns regarding the packet? Okay. Anything from you, Ann? Different? Okay. Okay. Then we just put that on file. Number 3 is discussion and possible action amending the employee handbook, section 4.07, protected service employee repayment commitment. Yeah. Get it.
Chief Bart.
Here, just come here.
So Chief Bartek asked the Human Resource Department to look into amending the handbook. Right now, with the increase of protective service that Chief Bartek is looking to hire and putting them through paramedics certification program, the city thought that would be pertinent that we to reduce our risk of loss, that the fire department requested to amend our handbook to include the repayment of all costs associated with the paramedic certification program for if an employee resigns within 3 years of hire. I see Chief Bartek is here, so.
I think you described it very accurately, Ann. We've had, over the period of years, recruitment and retention's been the biggest problem that we've been handling inside the department, is just filling the current openings that we have on our old roster, which was 62 members. Now with the 12 more positions that have been created over the last year, the 9 just coming from the SAFER grant here recently at the recent council meeting we took on, we're not going to find that many qualified paramedics. And so we're going to need to hire EMT basics, and we're picturing a one-time surge to train them as paramedics once they're on board. It's a big time commitment. It's a big investment by us as a city to bring these people on, but the job market is just not there. We do not have an abundance of fully qualified candidates that already have the paramedic certification. And so by bringing on board an EMT basic and training them as a paramedic, and then having a retention tool built into that with the repayment of the tuition and associated costs with their education, we think that that's the best route for us to go. We're currently moving forward with this process. We started an advertisement in August. We have another advertisement going on right now for recruitment to find the volume of candidates that we need to find. It's going to take quite a bit of time. We've entered into an agreement with North Central Technical College to offer a compressed EMT paramedic program that would take a Wausau firefighter that's a EMT basic, and in about 10 months compress that training down for paramedic. And so it's about as quick as they can do it. While I would like to see them do it in 6 months, it's at least a reduction from the year. And so those employees that we would bring on, we're picturing mid-February to bring on that staffing surge, that group. They would spend the first 10 months of their employment working a 40-hour work week, in which they would be attending classes through the North Central Technical College paramedic program that are actually offered at Fire Station number 2. We're going to have it right in there. Then by them being employees, we can also integrate their firefighting and rescue training that they need to get all the academy elements in during that 10 months. As employees, then they can also do their clinical ride-along time with our fire department rigs and staff towards that. When they're not in classroom, when they're not in some other type of training, we will use those employees during their work hours to staff engine companies and staff the 3 city ambulances as a third person on that. So we really see that we're going to produce some high quality candidates out of that, because they'll be embedded into our system for that 10 months of training. And we think it's honestly the best route for us to go. So, but in order to make that happen, we need to have this change in the handbook. So that's why we're requesting it.
Questions?
Question, yes.
Go ahead.
So there would be some kind of minimum qualifications at the present time, EMT,
Yes.
I trust, and some type of firefighter.
Yep. Firefighter, our previous qualifications had always been State of Wisconsin Firefighter 2 certification, which is the top level firefighter certification, and EMT paramedic, which is the top for EMS. Now we've reduced it, the current advertisement that we ran in August and the current advertisement we're running now, we've reduced that to Firefighter 1, being the minimum qualification. That's a fully vetted firefighter that they are capable of doing internal fire suppression activities. And EMT basic. And an EMT basic obviously doesn't have all the cadre of skills and abilities that a paramedic doesn't. And we operate an advanced life support ambulance service, and so we'll need to train them. So yes, that's so right now we're currently recruiting. Well, how we termed it in the advertisement is this is the minimum qualifications is Firefighter 1 and EMT basic, and the ability to get your candidate physical agility exam within the time of appointment, and a few other HR related things. But then we prefer that you're a paramedic. We prefer that you've got Firefighter 2. We prefer that you've got your hazardous materials technician, things like that. And so we're trying to vet out of that group the best of the best as far as the most qualified we can. And actually we had interviews today. We're bringing five paramedics to interviews with me tomorrow. We're pretty excited about that group. It's tough for me to put an estimate on how many of these candidates that we think we might have to hire as EMT basic, but we're guessing anywhere from 8 to 12. We don't know.
So,
Yeah, please.
so what about Firefighter 2 then? Do we train that?
Yep.
Or how do they, or isn't that an expectation?
Now, that will be also an expectation that they have to earn. And how we've been imagining how we've been imagining this going, and we're now putting in place, is that they will have a set timeline once they're employed in order to earn the EMT paramedic. It's a mandatory part of their employment. If they fail to earn EMT paramedic, they won't continue on. And they will be given the Firefighter 2 training internally. Our training division chief is a lead instructor for firefighter, and he's got a relationship with North Central Technical College. He can actually teach that North Central Technical College curriculum in-house, and we can get the Firefighter 2 curriculum done while they're going through the EMT paramedic. So our goal is at the end of that 10 months, they're not just ready to hit the street as far as the EMT paramedic and the Firefighter 2. We've also given them all the other cadre of skills that our people have to know, from the rope rescue to boat operations to the extrication of vehicles, extrication from machinery, all these other technical skills that they're going to have that incorporated in that 10-month academy.
So within a year, they should be at Firefighter 2 and paramedic.
Yep, and ready to work on the street as a fully qualified, equal to our counterparts that they'd be hired with. It's a change. When I came into the fire service in 1993, there was hundreds of us competing for singular positions, and you had to have an associate degree, and you had to have a litany of certifications in order to just be looked at for a job and some type of experience. Now the market is, there's more open positions in the Wisconsin Fire Service than there are candidates coming out of the technical school. So we opened up the lateral transfer, and we've transferred some firefighters in from other communities, but we can't fill the roles of our expanding department just based upon that. And so we need to think out of the box. I believe that we're going to be a leader in central Wisconsin by doing this. I know we are. I'm already getting some calls from other departments about how we're going to get through the staffing surge. We've had, oh my gosh, I don't know how many meetings with HR and pounding this out. I think it's a really solid plan that we're coming forward with.
Will this be gradual, or will this be sort of like a group all at once, sort of moving through?
Yeah, it'll be a singular group. We're hoping that this is the one-time staffing surge to meet this expanding department that we've got with a dozen new career positions created. And then after that, we've been really forward-leaning into recruitment and retention. Actually, my Deputy Chief Jeremy Kopp is at Wausau East this afternoon doing some recruitment. We really feel like we're gaining some ground with the recruitment with maybe high school age and post-high school age to get them moving towards the fire services as a trade, to work right here in their city that they were raised in, if they're a local or from the central Wisconsin area, that if you want to be a professional firefighter, Wausau's a great place to do that. And then really, the other part of that is we talk with retention tool being the fact that these candidates would have to then pay for their education. What I keep saying is I don't want to ever keep an employee out of a threat of them having to write a check to us if they left. I'd much rather keep them in the fact that we've got one of the best, most outstanding organizational cultures that we can provide for them. We give them all the tools and necessary equipment and policies and support from the administration that they need to be successful in the field. And I know that this community celebrates us and celebrates our people's service to this community. And so when they're welcome to the community, I think that we can keep and retain these employees based upon those things rather than just an idle threat that you might have to pay back a few dollars of your education.
So then will they need an associate degree or is that,
No.
that doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily follow?
Yeah, they'll be very close to an associate degree with that. The North Central Technical College actually offers a fire medic associate degree, and by the time they're done with all these credentials, they'll be within a few credits of earning that degree. That's up to them whether they choose to go back and get that degree. But as you move up in ranks, we require higher and higher education. We want to see that associate degree at that lieutenant's rank. Battalion chiefs, division chiefs, and above, we want to see bachelor's and master's degrees, and so we try to keep incentive for employees to keep moving towards further education. And actually, I think 2 years ago, the city created a policy here that we can reimburse our people who are studying in their field 50% of their tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And so we bang that drum all the time that, hey, where else do you get half your education paid for if you pursue it? Because we know we create a better employee and a better product, a better service to the community with the higher educated people we have.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
I have a comment. Chief Bartek, just out of curiosity, where are you advertising?
Well, it'd be a better, I'll tell you where I'm aware we're advertising. Jennifer Cannonberg would probably be the better person to advertise. She's putting it in all the key spots. So it goes into the Daily Dispatch, which is a International Association of Fire Chiefs daily briefing that goes out about positions that are available, and it's all across the country, including locally. They're advertised. Most candidates that are looking in the field will look there. We really hammer on it in our social media. If you're a Facebook follower or an Instagram follower, like us on our page, you'll see that. Today we put up a great picture of Lieutenant Quinn Ambrosius working at a fire, and then that's kind of the hook, that visual photo, and then we hope we can entice them to read the ad and then click on the job application. It also goes out over LinkedIn. Jennifer advertises it there. Indeed, we've had a candidate just recently tell us they saw us on there. And so she's really kind of in the know on all those, the spots that they really need to know. And then I email it to the deans of the local technical colleges. I recently had an instructor from Fox Valley Technical College reach out to me about some firefighter associate degree students who have their associate in fire EMT basic and they're looking for their first job, and I'm like, send them to me. We'd love that if they already got their associate degree and they need medic. That's the exact kind of candidate that we want.
Now, these interviews that you have tomorrow,
Yep.
are these people from the area or nearby?
I
Do you know?
reviewed all of them. I would say that probably is tomorrow we're interviewing 5, and maybe this is, I'd say at least half to 2/3 of them are from the central Wisconsin region. Well, we're gaining traction in drawing candidates from other parts of the state also.
Okay. Well, I
I-
want you to know I fully, support this handbook modification.
Thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you. I know we've had this discussion, we do a similar thing in the police department, for some of the training costs involved with their new recruits. And one of the concerns they have is that if the career choice isn't the right one for them, do you have any concerns about that? With a fire candidate going through the program 6 months later or 9 months later, deciding, well, maybe this is not the right thing I should be doing, and would they'd still be on the hook for the training costs? Or?
Yeah, and it's a concern of mine also. I think what if and I'm not going to venture into the police department's realm of what they do as training, but by having the EMT basic as a minimum, those people and the firefighter they've already been exposed to internal structural firefighting. They've already been exposed to patient care in the field because they're training. They have to, in order to earn EMT basic, have to go out on ambulance calls, and they have to have had those patient contacts and things like that. Well, that's always a real and possible potential. Recently we had a candidate that we had welcomed on board as a firefighter paramedic, and he was with us for a little while and said, you know what, I think I want to work in the clinical field. And he went to work for one of the local medical facilities in a 40-hour job as a paramedic and medical technician for that. I do share that concern. But I think that we need to have that there for some type of technical solution to having candidates come to us, we invest in them for a year of education, which we've invested in their wages. That's one thing they don't have to repay. They don't have to pay any of their wages or any of their health insurance, anything like that. All we're talking about is tuition, which North Central Technical College is giving us a great rate on that. It's about $7,800 for the tuition, and then whatever materials we include. So, and then it I think the first year it's 75% they got to repay us, 50%, and then 25. So by year 3, it's 25%. It's always a real problem, right? I don't want to see someone that's not doing well in the trade stay because they can't afford to repay that. But I think that we would work with them on a repayment process in order to make that affordable to them. We don't want to see anybody not get a paycheck, but I think that at the same time, in order to protect the municipality's interests, we need to have this technical solution in there.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion. To accept. Motion by, and second by Mertens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Back to this again. Oops. Okay, sorry. Discussion and possible action approving FLSA exempt employees in the Finance and Human Resources Departments the ability to earn additional compensation during the workday implementation.
So the finance director has asked me to put this on our agenda. We have learned, finance director and myself, that our departments are expected, due to workday, to be working over the holiday weekends. So basically, from Thanksgiving forward, we are expected to be available and to be working on the weekends and holidays. And with the double implementation, it's going to last into the new year with the cancellation of our current system and going fully into the new system. So there's a lot of extra work to close out the previous year, going into the new year. Mary Ann and I kind of talked about this a little bit, about how this is going to look. Currently, we are working quite a bit. I know Mary Ann and myself, we are constantly in workday meetings. We are expected to do testing outside of the meetings. So example is, for benefits, I had 199 test scenarios I was supposed to do. And if those test scenarios did not work, I had to send it back. And then we have to retest it. And sometimes you're retesting the exact same scenario, maybe 5, 10, 15 times to make sure that gets right in the system. So obviously it takes a lot of time. We're constantly re-looking at things. So right now, we are putting in quite a bit of time, but I think it's definitely a morale issue when we were told that you need to be expecting this from CCIT. And Mary Ann wanted to do something for her staff, and being the fact that it's already budgeted in the project capital budget for extra staffing hours and positions, we thought this would be a good time.
I just have a question. So do we have like a rate? I hear that, I see where the fiscal impact is, but do we have an individual rate, or how will it be implemented specifically per person?
So our thought process is similar to what a DPW does for their streets, is when they are asked to stay beyond their 40 hours a week, starting in November 1st to April 1st, they earn a 1 per 1 hour. So when they get called in for a snowstorm, they are asked to, they basically earn comp time for every hour that they are there extra.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're looking at, is hour for hour comp time. So again, my salary, who knows what it will be at that point in time when we hire the new director, but Mary Ann maybe could speak a little bit more about her department.
Sure. So again, as Ann said, it's going to depend on the position. We have explored other options. You know, I've reached out to HR to talk about other options and talked to CCITC and the county, and actually even reached out to the tech college because they are in the midst of an ERP using Workday. And, you know, all of those organizations have already compensated their employees through special bonuses, as well as paid out vacation to their finance people because of the fact that staff just has been working so much that we have not been able to use our vacation. And we have not provided any bonuses at this point for the ERP. And so based on that, you know, and we really are treating the staff, I have both exempt and non-exempt. So the non-exempt are receiving the overtime at time and a half, as all non-exempt that work for the city are. But my exempt employees are really, at this point, not receiving any extra compensation or recognition for the efforts. And as Ann pointed out, we have been making that investment all year in 2022, but we see the demands getting worse right now. In my department, we are implementing the ERP software. We're putting in new point of sale software. We're putting in special assessment software and parking enforcement and parking permit software. So that is what my department is wrestling with right now. As Ann pointed out, January is a really busy time for the finance department because we have all of the compliance reporting for the IRS, the W-2s, reconciling the Wisconsin retirement system, and getting out 1099s to our contracts. So this really has turned in not to a sprint, but a marathon. And when we look forward, we basically have now delayed the implementation of our job costing software and budgeting software. We're not going to start the implementation of the new budgeting software until after the first of the year. So that is just going to continue to, I guess, require additional commitment from staff. So this is, this is a really unusual situation that you're trying to put 50 pounds of potatoes in a 10-pound bag, and I really think that it's time that we recognize the efforts.
Right. I guess my question is just, you said time and a half for like, is that going to continue or does that
By
increase?
law, we have to do
Right,
that.
okay, so exempt, I guess all I'm asking is how, I wasn't arguing the point at all, but I was just trying to figure out, is it time and a half? Is it double time?
No, it
Back
was
up.
straight time, as Ann said, it's straight time.
And so
Just-
you'll get, is it comp time
Yeah.
or is it, oh,
It's comp time, but then it gets paid out.
paid out, okay.
Is it November 30th?
December.
First pay
It has
period
to
in
be-
December.
Yeah, comp time has to be paid out before the end of the year.
But I think, if we look at this realistically, when I kind of describe what 2023 looks like too, and the fact that there's 3 people in the department already who have the caps taken off their vacation time because they can't use their vacation, the likelihood that some of this will get paid out is possible.
Sure.
Obviously, if someone has a choice of not working on Thanksgiving or working over the Thanksgiving holiday, I think, they would prefer not to work on the Thanksgiving holiday. So it's not like, I don't believe staff is going to be inclined. And we will have staff punch in and out during that time period. So we have a good accounting of the actual utilization. And as Ann pointed out, DPW staff get overtime whether it's Monday or Sunday. And we're asking for the weekend and the holiday. So we've already, I feel like, been stringent or stingy, whatever word you want to use, on what we're actually going to recognize.
Right. Well, I just want to say that I heard about this a couple of months ago, and I'm frustrated that this has to be asked of staff. I know of the hours that have been put in by some, And then when they have to put in those hours, they still have to do their regular work. This isn't, this isn't like instead of. And I think that so I just want the powers that be that made this timeline to understand that they've put staff in a bad position, and now asking people to work holidays and weekends over holidays, which are important. And, family time, we talk about this in City Hall, and in every aspect of our community talks about a new work-life balance. And I'm just frustrated that this has to be asked of staff, but I'm going to support, compensating them for that extra time. Any other questions or concerns? Go ahead, Gary.
Well, I think, we'll make this motion for today, but I think that if we just keep an eye on it, because I'm worried about the staff, the morale as we go through this, especially as the end of the year approaches. So, as month by month, if whatever the city can do, I think we have to make sure that we're treating our staff very well here through all this. And this is granted, but I think we have to acknowledge that and maybe take a look later on when this is finished, so that we can acknowledge the work that they did through all this. So, the story's not over with. I think we have to just keep an eye on it.
Okay, so any other questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to accept. Okay, motion by Killian, second by Gisselman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? That passes unanimously. Well, we're on to adjournment. Okay, we have a motion and a second by Martins. Okay, thank you. We are all adjourned. Thank you.